What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to be talking about different ways you can maximize your income as a business owner in the clothing brand space, because there's a lot of different ways you can make money, whether you're doing business to business, direct to consumer, or do design work for other people. So I just want to share with you the stuff that I do so you can hopefully apply it for your business and grow to the next level. Let's go. I actually have a box of shirts I gotta fold. So this is 52 shirts from Shakaware, or 54, something like that, I forgot. And I also gotta do some embroidery on this hat. So let's go over there and I'm gonna talk about the topics that I just mentioned. So being able to afford a living while you're doing something you love is like obviously a privilege that you can't take for granted. And it's really amazing, right? But it's not an easy path to get to. And I can't say that like I've made it, because I still feel like I'm grinding every day, and it's not like things are that much easier than it was, but things have definitely relaxed a little bit, to say the least. And for those who don't know me that much, I actually worked at another company for 7 years before I started my company. So I wasn't like just someone watching videos on YouTube and I decided to one day start a brand, right? I had 7 years of legitimate experience getting to a certain point. And I started freelancing to just get a feel of what it's like to work for yourself, basically. And it's very different when you work for yourself, because sometimes you get big accounts. And when I say big, I just mean like, a couple $100 here and there. But to sustain yourself with that kind of money, you gotta think like, how many clients do I need every month to pay for my rent, pay for my bills, basically all your operational costs as a human being. Like, can you cover that with just these small projects, right? I did that for a little bit. And as I was on my way out, I realized that I probably should have spent more time building my company first, because I only spent about probably like 5 months, maybe 4 to 5 months working on it. So it wasn't a very long time. And I got my LLC in November. So from that point on, it was like game on, I had nowhere to hide anymore. I had to make this happen. And that was one of the biggest things, was if I could have gone back, I would have started way earlier. I would have probably given myself another, 6 months, close to like a year before I started. So that's one thing, is like, if you're thinking about quitting whatever you're doing to start your own thing, just make sure that you spend more time on it than you think, because once the rope is cut and the leash is free and you're on your own, like, it just becomes very real. The way you live every day starts to feel like every second matters more, every dollar matters more, like everything just becomes a lot more raw and real. So that's just something that you gotta keep in mind when you start doing this. And yeah, basically at this point, I was already freelancing, so I knew what it's like to work with clients, but there's no payroll to fall back on. And this is very important that you have this experience, because if you don't, you're gonna quit your job or whatever and then start working on your hustle or your grind, and you're gonna realize like how freaking hard it is to actually pay for everything. Kind of like what I just talked about, a couple $100 here and there is great when you have a full-time job, but when you don't, and that becomes your sole income, there's a lot of pressure on you. And the pressure is really tough to deal with, because not only are you dealing with like financial things, but you're also dealing with like a lot of mental and emotional changes as you feel like your value has gone down. For example, right, I was making close to 6 figures doing what I was doing, and then I quit my job and suddenly like my disposable income is close to zero. Everything I make goes straight to the business. So it's like all of a sudden, my financial cushion has died out. But that doesn't mean I wasn't ready for that. I prepared by saving, investing, and having enough in the bank to be confident enough that, if I didn't work for an X amount of days, am I gonna be all right? Because that's a realistic conversation you need to have with yourself, is, are you gonna survive if you didn't make any money for like 6 months? 6 months is a long time, especially if you have a lot of expenses. Like 6 months is a lot of time to, spend money. The money goes really fast when you're not getting a paycheck. And that's why if you have a job that you don't hate, like let's say you have a pretty decent full-time job that you only take 15 minutes to drive there, you have chill coworkers, you go home and you feel totally energized, like you gotta keep that job, because you don't really get lucky opportunities like that where a job is chill. And if you have something like that, you're at a good spot because you can fully commit to what you want to commit to when you get home. But at work, you know, you're obviously kind of giving up your time to be at work, but that's the whole exchange of money and time. At least that's how I see it, is like you give up your time to get currency, but now you have limited time for yourself because you're devoting it to whatever your job is gonna be, right? And best case scenario is probably having a part-time job, because a part-time job, you spend 20 hours, 30 hours max maybe, and you get to do what you wanna do once you get home. So if you have a good job that is able to support you, like don't quit that job. Just stick with what you got and ride it out for as long as you can until you feel like the tipping point, because you'll much rather do that than quit and be 100% on your own. It's gonna be really tough when you make that transition. So a big plot twist with my situation was that I definitely wasn't prepared yet. So I left the company, started taking work, and I spent 7 months about trying to figure it out. It was from like October to June-ish. So I guess that's a little bit more than 7 months, but I was taking work that I didn't really care about. I was just trying to like figure out how to make money. And then I realized like I was better off just working at my other job because I was doing what I wanted to do and I was getting paid and I got to do what I want to do at nighttime, versus now it's like I'm doing all this stuff that I didn't want to do every day because I had to float by. And that was just one of those moments where you don't really recognize that until you get to that point. So hopefully you can learn from my mistake, but if I could go back, I would definitely spend more time working on the foundation of my company before leaving and being on it 100% on my own. Not that it was bad, but it's just one of those things where I wish it was a little bit smoother, because I ended up getting another job to temporarily kind of float me through. And that's where, honestly, where most of the progression happened, was when I switched to another job and I had an income again. I would spend every single dollar that I made. Whatever didn't go to my expenses will go straight to my business. And I didn't care if I was making a lot of money, a little bit of money, breaking even, whatever my business was good, because you gotta spend money in your business for it to be known. You have to spend it to grow, and you just can't do that without putting money into it. Like there's ways to do it without a lot of money, but I really don't think there's any way to grow a brand at a speed that makes sense where you can make these changes a lot faster if you don't put money into it. Whether it's advertising, inventory, like software, you know, Shopify, all this stuff, like everything costs money. So you have to put money into it. But if you believe in what you're doing, then it's just kind of like you're investing in yourself versus you're investing in something else. But now we fast forward to today. So it's June 2024. And this actually marks my 1 year of leaving my job. So this time it was very different. I did things correctly. I saw the momentum. I saw numbers that I was comfortable with my business before quitting again. So it was still a risk, like anything in life, but it was a lot more, I use this word a lot, but it was like mitigated risk, because I saw the numbers, I saw the growth, I see the potential, and now I'm like, okay, the foundation is already set, let's go for it. So at this point, like the company was a year and a quarter, year and a half old. So that's how much time it took for me to set the foundation. So if you're thinking about doing this, you know, I think you need at least a year. Just keep grinding at it. Your time will come. Like I said, I'm still working at it every day, but it just gets a little bit easier and a lot more fun when you have a lot of other projects to work on versus just like trying to survive every single day. One of the biggest caveats though of running the direct-to-consumer brand is that if you only rely on that, if you have a bad day, bad week, bad month, you kind of get screwed, right? Because you're just relying on sales. And fortunately, things have been all right for me, but that doesn't mean that I'm complacent. You don't want to be complacent. You want to always be looking. So I have 5 different ways that I bring in revenue each month, and I'm going to move on to the embroidery machine next, and I'll talk about it when I sit down on the couch. So here's the hat. We got the highball patch hat, which I press with the Hotronix, and I'm going to use the embroidery machine to put a side hit right here. So I'm going to load up the embroidery machine and show you all how simple this is. This is the Marquee 2001, 20 needles. I think it's a little overkill for what I need. I think the 15 is just more than enough, but you hit it with the 3 clicks, and then I'm on needle 15 right now. So we're gonna go to setup, trace. Trace is gonna bring this to needle 1. And what trace 1 does is it basically shows you the boundary. So I need to move the placement because we're not gonna sew it over this, obviously. So let's move it to the side. Cool. And then what you want to do is use some clips like these right here. These clips to hold this to the side. And this helps you to straighten this. Make sure that the clips are facing down. And this is my logo, so I can make sure that my stuff's branded without it being so obvious that it's branded. And then now we just let it rip. We got the machine going, stitch count, time, size of the hoop. And I love this UI. It's really awesome to see the process. And then you go here and you just see it stitching out. So really cool interface by Ricoma. All right, just like that, simple. We got the 3 clicks. Then there it is, right there. So we're gonna do a cleanup, but we can do that later since this order is probably not gonna ship until tomorrow. But I honestly can't believe that I have an embroidery machine. Like, I can make stuff like this at home, and I never really thought this will be possible in my lifetime, to be honest. So it's really an amazing feeling, and I'm just super grateful that Ricoma was down to give me a chance with their machine, because obviously like my YouTube has sub 1,000 subs, and you know, I mean, I'm not like the biggest sales guy. Like, I just kind of show how shit gets made, but I'm glad you all support me, and it's just cool to see like these are the things that you can literally make in your living room. So yeah, keep the dream alive. That's what I always say, because you never know what's gonna happen, you know? So let's go back to the couch, and I'll talk about the 5 ways that I make money with different income streams, so that as a creative person yourself, you can follow these things if you don't know it yet. And if you already know it, let me know in the comments what you do so I can learn from you as well. The first way you're gonna bring in money as a designer or brand owner is gonna be D2C, or direct to consumer. And this is a web store, Etsy, whatever you sell online that goes straight to a customer. And this is primarily my revenue driver right now. Some months it might fluctuate with another sector, but D2C is the way I make money. I think it's the most challenging because you don't have a client to rely on, and you have to go directly to a customer, meaning that you need a brand, you need a website, you need everything together to really look legit, basically. And it is the toughest, but the most rewarding, I would say. And also you have the highest margins because you're selling straight to a customer. So you're not selling to another business that's gonna make another markup on whatever you're selling. So D2C is the first way that I bring in my revenue. Second is gonna be B2B, or business to business, also known as wholesaling in the industry. And this is where you sell straight to a business. So let's say an artist hits me up and they want me to do 100 jerseys for them, and I make them 100 jerseys. I'm doing B2B because I'm a business and they're a business, and they're gonna be reselling it to the next consumer. The good thing with B2B is you can scale it up really fast because you don't have to grow a brand. You don't have to do any of the personal marketing stuff. It's just about finding clients. And the really good thing about B2B is scalability is really easy once you're in the system and you're like making a lot of sales. And typically a lot of people come through word of mouth. So if you do great work for someone else, they're gonna tell their friends, and then their friends are gonna come asking you for work, and then so forth. So you can really scale it up, but it requires a lot of really good customer service with the business aspect of it, not the typical customer, like if you sell it to someone directly, but sales and customer relations is really important for you to scale it up. And it's something that can bring in a lot of money as long as you are hitting the right margins and you're hitting the right quantities. So don't just take work because it's work, but if you have to start somewhere, start with B2B, so that you can really scale up your operations. And if you're a designer, you can freelance for people. So for example, I have a couple clients in the music industry that hit me up if they want designs done for jerseys, logos, branding, anything of that nature. And these are projects that kind of come here and there, so I can't rely on it month to month. And that was like the biggest pitfall, was when I first started my company, I wanted to be solely a design company. And what happens is a lot of people get the design work done, but they don't come back again until 3 to 6 months later when they need a new design. So if you need to pay things monthly, which is probably almost everybody watching this video, it's not a great way to sustain yourself, but it's a great way to increase your revenue by having that extra stream, because you never know when design work might come through. Just make sure that whoever you're working with, you're not devaluing yourself by charging too little because someone else charged someone 20 bucks for a logo. Doesn't mean that you have to make them a logo for $50. So that's another way that I make money, and I keep my eyes open for opportunities, but I just don't say yes to everybody because I have very limited time, and designing is really important to me. This next sector of income is definitely something new to me, but consulting and coaching. So I have a couple people who came through my site, wanted me to help them with their branding, their clothing brand, how to start, etc. And basically I set up a one-on-one call with them and I do a coaching session. And if people want to do multiple, I give them discounts and then make sure that it's more like a mentorship program versus like a one-off. But I still care about how people perform after they talk to me, because at the end of the day, like, it really matters to me if the person that I consult gets something from it, because it's really not a cash grab. Like, I don't want to just put out anything and talk to someone for an hour and be like, all right, cool, you know, I don't care about you anymore. Like, I really do care about the people that I coach, and I do want to see everyone succeed. So yeah, if you really want to grow your brand, let me know in the comments, hit me in the DMs, IKendoit.Studio on Instagram, and let's get to work, because I do really enjoy watching people learn and grow, because it's really fulfilling and rewarding for me. And right now, I probably do about 1 to 2 sessions a month, so it's nothing that I can pay my rent with, but it's definitely something that I want to scale up and grow more as hopefully more people follow me here on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And yeah, just like, I want to teach people how to do this, because I learned all this through a job, which took about 7 years, right? And then on top of the 7 years, I've been doing it for 3 years on my own with a crutch from another company that I had for that first year out of my first job, as I explained to you in the story earlier. But yeah, I have like 10 years of experience, so I can really teach you a lot, especially if you're just getting started. But I also want to make it clear that it is more beneficial for me to coach someone who's already started versus starting from nothing, because a lot of the things that have to do with like starting up a company, you can find it on YouTube. Like, check out Big Brando. That guy's got everything. He's the source for all information that you need, but I'm just another dude who knows how to do things my way. So if you want to learn from me, hit me up. But Big Brando, that guy's got all the good videos. So make sure you check him out if you haven't yet. And the last one that I haven't achieved yet is gonna be YouTube ads. So this is kind of why I've shifted my focus on YouTube, was because when I was traveling, I realized that nothing in life is really passive income unless you're getting money on like affiliate, residuals on like royalties, or you're getting ad revenue. And I don't have anything that pays me ad revenue, because I was thinking in the future, if I want to just chill and make money, how do I do that? And obviously YouTube is probably going to be the answer for that, or any other platform that pays out royalties or ad revenue. So that being said, like, you know, obviously I'm not doing YouTube just for the money, but that is something that I am planning on achieving. Hopefully at the end of this year, I'll be monetized, or even earlier, hopefully. But yeah, it's just nice to see that there are opportunities out there, because something like Instagram, you're more likely to be spending money on ads on Instagram instead of making money on ads. And every day the photos, the videos, like, gets posted, gets seen by like 10,000 people, that's it. And then you start again and you start again. Versus YouTube, more people come here to chill, learn, and educate themselves with new topics. And I think making clothing is a really dope topic that there are a lot more people now than before, but I always think that anyone who has experience has something to contribute. So that's why I'm here trying to make it happen for myself. By diversifying your income, you're not relying on just one thing. So when something goes bad, you got something else to rely on. And that's something that I want to emphasize on the most, because once you quit your job and you got nothing else to support you, you want as many safety nets as you can. And before you make any drastic decisions, like, make sure you outweigh your risk. You calculate how much money can last you for at least 6 months to 12 months. I would say close to a year. Like, don't even do 6 months, because in reality, like, when you have a business, a lot of money goes into the business that doesn't come back quickly, especially of inventory and all that kind of stuff for clothing. So I would say at least budget out 12 months of rent or 12 months of expenses, so that you don't feel as pressured every month to have to make money, and you can actually focus on growing your business. And I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but one of the other ones is gonna be influencer and brand deals. So as you all know, HeatPress Nation supports me, Ricoma supports me, whether it is monetary or it's equipment. The machine from Ricoma is sponsored by them, and I make it very clear that it is sponsored by them before I shoot any video or talk about it. So that is one way that a company has supported me. And HeatPress Nation, we have a contract where I make some videos and I get paid, you know, I get paid stuff. It's nothing crazy, but to me, it's more of like a thank you to them for supporting me from when I had like 4,000 followers, because they were really the first ones that kind of put me on this game of affiliate and all this, because I had no idea how to do it. And Ronnie from HPN reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to be an affiliate? And I was like, oh, is this what it's like to be an influencer with my 4,000 followers? And I just thought it was pretty hilarious. But from that point on, I was like, okay, this has to be something that I have to figure out how to monetize, but I also want to do it ethically in a way where, you know, I don't want to trick anyone to buy anything. I don't want to lie about any products that suck. And that's why everything that I post, I either own it or I test it or I've used it for a long time. I'm not just like trying to sell you a machine. That's one thing with the way I present my stuff is like, I try not to say, hey, buy this machine. It's more like, hey, this is what I can make with the machine, because I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and it just took me time to get to that point, right? I don't think I am any better than anyone else. I really think anyone can achieve anything that they want to. It's just that some people take more time to get there. And for me, it took, 7 years, 8 years, now 10 years, right? So that's what I'm trying to show is like, you can make really dope stuff at your house. You obviously have to know how to do it, but all the equipment exists. All the supplies are out there. So the affiliate links to me is just like, for anyone out there, if you want to support me because you don't want to buy any of my shirts, but hey, I want to buy some puff vinyl because I want to make some puff, and this guy taught me how to use it on YouTube. Like, that's kind of what the links are there for. Obviously, equipment is a bigger investment, and yeah, I get a cut if you buy a machine, but I don't want anyone to just buy it because they saw me do something with it. And that's something that I want to be very clear about with all my affiliate stuff is, yes, it's all there, but only buy stuff if it makes sense for your business. Like, don't just buy it because you saw me, you saw someone else that's talking about it, and they're like, oh, this makes me so much money. Because that's never how I want to do this. Like, this is purely why, like, I don't tell people to get into this for the money. You should get into this because you fucking love it. And then that will translate to money because you will figure out how to make a business out of it. So yeah, that's number 4. So I hope you all found this video to be helpful today. I know it's a little bit different. I wasn't really showing much about a tutorial or anything like that, but I just wanted to share with you all about these experiences because there's more to it than just pressing t-shirts or embroidering a hat. If you want to see more videos like this from me, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so I can get to 1,000 and get monetized and have another revenue stream for my business, and hopefully help you all out with any questions that you have and help you grow your own business. If you want to support my channel further, you all know I had the links in the description box below. So I got my affiliate stuff, my web store, anything you want to check out, it's going to be in the description box below. And as always, thank you all for stopping by, and I'll catch you all next time.